بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأزكى التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the History of Islam class. Today, inshallah, we're continuing the discussion of the life of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. After overcoming a very important and brutal situation, which was the wars of the apostates, now Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is in front of another important task. After finishing from the internal issues inside Arabia, he moved to the external issues. Now, the surrounding area of Arabia was ruled by two large, important states, Rome and Persia. From the early stages of Islam, those two states were not peaceful states to Muslims. They are strong, they are willing to attack, they are larger than Muslims. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh did not wait until they already launched the attack against Muslims. He himself decided that it is time to go and defend the position of the Muslims. Now, the areas that are around Arabia, the nearest to the Muslims, were controlled by Arab, but they are allies to the Persians or Romans. The eastern side, the southern Iraq in our time, was controlled by the Arab, who are allies to the Persians. The western side, that is the southern Jordan in our time, was controlled by Arab, who are Christians, or they are allies to the Christians. That was the situation. Remember, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh sent already Usama ibn Zayd radiallahu anhu, because that was the will of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were preparing, and they killed the messenger of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ sent an army, and then he went by himself, and then he prepared the army of Usama, and after his demise, after his death, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh sent that army. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anh intended to dispatch the army. The Romans showed more hostility to the Muslims. So Abu Bakr was supposed to send the army to them, but he decided to move to the east for many reasons. First, the western area was already attacked by Muslims. So now the kuffar, the Christians, they are aware that Muslims are ready and they could go and fight them. That was one reason. Another reason, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh looked and he saw that those are still Christians. They are still closer than the fire worshippers. So he decided to move to the east. He sent to Khalid ibn al-Walid radiallahu anhu. Khalid ibn al-Walid radiallahu anhu had already finished the battle of Yamama, one of the fiercest battle that the Muslims knew from day one of Islam. The battle of Badr, the battle of Uhud, all these battles, this was one of the most difficult battles for Muslims, the battle of Yamama. In that battle, only 70 Qurra were killed, 70 of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ who memorized the entire Quran. They were killed in one battle. It was very critical and very fierce battle. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh sent to him, to Khalid, not to come back to Medina, but rather to go, to move east. Al-Yamama is in the middle of Arabia. So Khalid radiallahu anh now is going from the southern side of Iraq, because that was the kingdom of Persia. It starts from there. At the same time, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh was very wise leader. And he told Khalid, do not force anyone to fight with you. Remember, they just finished the battle. They are exhausted. So actually, most of the army with Khalid radiallahu anh, they went back. They went back. Why? Not because they don't want to perform jihad, not because they did not like Khalid as a leader, but they were exhausted. They were tired. And since there was no obligation, they went and they took a rest. And we will see the consequences of that. We will see the wisdom behind that, and that was a great advantage. They took time to rest, to re-energize themselves, and then to reinforce the armies that are already in the battlefield. So Khalid radiallahu anh went. And at the same time, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh sent to another leader. At that time still, Khalid was not the leader of the entire Muslim army. He was the leader of his group, of that group in the Battle of Yamama. Khalid was going from the south. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh sent another leader, Iyad ibn Ghanam radiallahu anh, from the north. And that was the wisdom of Abu Bakr. He sent two armies, one going from the north and one going from the south, and he told them, whoever reaches first, he is the leader. So he established the good competition amongst the companions. The competition that only Islam will benefit from it. And their direction was to take control over Al-Hira. Al-Hira was the capital of Persia in Arabia. There were two large cities. The center of Persia was Al-Madain, a city called Al-Madain. Madain is plural of Medina, and Medina is city. So the city's name is the cities. It's just like Metroplex, very, very big city. That was Al-Madain. And that was the capital of Persia. And that's where Kisra was, in that Al-Madain. In Al-Iraq, Al-Hira was the center, and it was the capital. So it was the second largest city of Persia. And that was their goal, to take control over Al-Hira. Because the road after that will be paved to go to Al-Madain. So he commanded Iyad ibn Ghanam radiallahu anh to attack from the north, and he commanded Khalid ibn al-Walid radiallahu anh to go from the south. Now going from the south, Khalid will come across the Persian Gulf. And there was a very important city there. That city is called Al-Abala. Al-Abala. This city was very critical, important city. It is the harbor. All the reinforcements, all the supplies coming from Persia, they are coming through this city, Al-Abala. So Khalid radiallahu anh wanted to take control over that city. But there was a very experienced leader of the Persians who was expecting Khalid to come, and he prepared himself, and that leader's name is Hormuz. And he was known, he was renowned for his hatred and hostility to Muslims, even to his soldiers. They used to say, more deceptive than Hormuz. He was the example of deceit, Hormuz. Until this very day, his name is mentioned. In the southern Persian Gulf, there is the Strait of Hormuz. It was named after him, this man, Hormuz. That was the leader. Hormuz was expecting Khalid radiallahu anh to come and camp in a city called Kadhima. Kadhima now is in Kuwait. You know where is Kuwait? That's where Kadhima was. Khalid is very smart. Now remember, how many soldiers he has with him? 2,000. By that time, there were some reinforcements coming. And his army was more than that. But how many was the army of the kuffar, the Persians? It was 10 times more than them. And Khalid knows that physically they are way outnumbered. And he cannot just go and fight them. So what did he do? He outsmarted Hormuz. He knew that Hormuz is planning ahead of time. So he asked himself, where does Hormuz expect me to be? And he found the answer, it should be Kadhima. So Khalid radiallahu anh did not go to Kadhima, as Hormuz expected. Hormuz went to Kadhima, and there was nobody. Khalid radiallahu anh went to a city called Al-Hufayr. Al-Hufayr was a small city, and that's where he camped. Hormuz got the news that Khalid is not in Kadhima. Of course, obviously, he came to Kadhima and he found nobody. So he decided to go back. Where is Khalid? Khalid in Al-Hufayr. So he followed him. Khalid knew, radiallahu anh, that Hormuz is coming to him. He went to Kadhima. See how he's playing with Hormuz? He wants to destroy the self-esteem of his soldiers. He wants him to become impatient. So that's what he did. Khalid radiallahu anh moved to Kadhima, which was already left by Hormuz, and now Hormuz heard that Khalid went to Kadhima. He went crazy. He was very, very upset, and he decided that it is time to fight them, to kill them all. Eventually, they met together, Khalid and Hormuz. They met together in a battle that was known later as the Battle of Dhat al-Salasil. Dhat al-Salasil, the Battle of the Chains. What is the meaning of Salasil? Plural of Silsila. Silsila is a chain. Why? Because Hormuz commanded his soldiers to chain themselves with chains, so they won't run away from the battle. Although they are much more than, they outnumbered the Muslims. But again, that shows you how much he was arrogant, how he ruled his soldiers, and never will be a good leadership when you force your soldiers to fight, when you threaten them or you do something like that to them. Now, Hormuz thought that he could destroy the Muslims easily without even fighting. He invited Khalid radiallahu anh to a duel, to fight him individually. And Khalid radiallahu anh, of course, agreed. Khalid radiallahu anh agreed. Khalid was one of the few soldiers that the entire history knew as a true commander, as a true leader, as a true fighter. One of the leaders in the Muslim army, one of the companions, Al-Qa'qa' bin Amr radiallahu anhu. Now, obviously, Hormuz is not stupid. He knows that Khalid is strong. Hormuz is very arrogant, so definitely there is a trick. And Khalid did not care. What did Hormuz do? He prepared a group of soldiers and he told them, the moment Khalid comes and the moment we are near to each other, you come, all of you, and you kill Khalid. That was the plan, to deceive Khalid. Khalid was expecting something, but he did not care. Al-Qa'qa' saw that group that is hiding, and he by himself went straight and he killed all of them. He killed all of them very quickly, that even Hormuz did not have time to retreat. Now Hormuz met with Khalid in a matter of seconds. In no time, Khalid radiallahu anh killed him. That killing for the leader of the force destroyed all their self-esteem, all their spirit, and they ran away in front of the Muslims. Over 30,000 of the Persians were killed in that battle. And that was a great victory for Muslims. It was one of the most famous battles in history, Dhat al-Salasil, because it was like the gate that opened later the door for Muslims to open Persia. Now, Khalid radiallahu anh moved to another city. And now remember, he is going north. He went from the south and he is taking the northern way. He went to a city called Al-Madar. And in Al-Madar, there were 80,000 of the Persians. How many was the Muslims? They were 18,000. Again, the reinforcements are coming. Khalid radiallahu anh is sending to Abu Bakr radiallahu anh that he needs reinforcements. But remember, the beginning was with only 2,000 soldiers. You imagine now, how many Muslims are there? But what kind of Muslims they are? So Khalid radiallahu anh went to Al-Madar. Kisra, the Persian king, he knew about what happened to Hormuz, and he was very, very upset. So he sent two leaders. One of them was sent from Al-Madain, one general from Al-Madain, Shahriyar, and then one leader was sent from Al-Hira as a reinforcement, plus the leader of the Persians in Al-Madar. So these are three leaders. And the three of them, before the battle, they again asked for a duel, for individual fighting. Again, Khalid radiallahu anh did not care. He went, Al-Qaqa' ibn Amr radiallahu anh, and a third Muslim leader. Three of them went. In no time, they killed the three leaders of the Persians. And that was again a very stupid thing by the Persians. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something to happen, it will happen. The entire leadership, the entire army of the Persians without any leader now. So they ran away. They did not even know what to do. Three leaders are killed. They ran away, and again it was a great defeat. And now Khalid radiallahu anh saw that the door is opened to Al-Hira. There is nothing stopping him. Khalid went and he besieged Al-Hira. That was the biggest city of the Persians in Iraq. All this, see these battles, the three battles now, taking over Al-Madar, Al-Abala, that is Salasil, and now reaching Al-Hira, that was in less than 40 days. Less than 40 days. It's like magic. Something unbelievable what Khalid radiallahu anh did. And remember, it's not only him, but even the soldiers with him, the true Muslims, that they were fighting not for the spoils of war, they were fighting for La ilaha illallah. That was their goal. So Khalid radiallahu anh besieged Al-Hira. Before even reaching Al-Hira, the leader of it ran away. They were scared. They saw what Khalid did to Shahriyar. They saw what he did to Hormuz. They hear now they are scared. They know that there is a terrorist, there is a man with the name of Khalid, that you should run away from him. He ran away. Then someone called Amr ibn Abdul Masih, he was the leader of Al-Hira. He decided to turn in Al-Hira. He said, we cannot fight Khalid with his soldiers. So Khalid radiallahu anh was able to take control over Al-Hira, and that was one of the greatest victories for Muslims, because they took control over the biggest city in Al-Iraq without even fighting. And he imposed jizya, and that was the first jizya that is sent from Iraq to Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. 90,000 were sent from Al-Iraq as jizya, and he sent the glad tidings to Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. Now remember, Abu Bakr, what did he do? He did not send only Khalid. He sent also another man, Iyad ibn Ghanam. Iyad ibn Ghanam radiallahu anh was stuck. He was slow. Why? Because the tribes of the disbelievers, they heard of him coming, so they surrounded him. And he asked for help from Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. And that was the reason why Khalid radiallahu anh did not move forward. The door was opened for him. Now the way is opened. He wanted to move forward until he reaches Al-Madain, until he occupies the entire Persia. But Abu Bakr radiallahu anh told him to move now east, to move west, to take control and to free the army of Iyad ibn Ghanam. Now before that, when Khalid radiallahu anh was in Al-Hira, he spoke with Amr ibn Abd al-Masih. Amr ibn Abd al-Masih, when he was talking to Khalid, he was carrying something. And he asked him, Khalid, what is this? And he told him, this is a poison. And he told him, why is that? He said, I was afraid that if you deceived us, if you took control over the city, you may kill us. And if you did that, I don't want to be alive. I want to kill myself because that is better for me than living humiliated. So Khalid, of course, that was the Muslims. The Muslims would never deceive or breach the covenant. Always in the history, not even one incident where Muslims deceived others. It was always the other way around. That is in the entire history. Look at all the battles that the Muslims fought. You will never find one battle that the Muslims are the ones who broke or breached the covenant. It was always the disbelievers. So Khalid radiallahu anh told him that we don't betray, and he told him, give me this. He took the poison, he said Bismillah, and he drank it. And nothing happened to Khalid. And Amr looked at him and he said, you will never be defeated if this man is leading you. Again, he did not believe what happened. Khalid told him, no soul will die before it is time. And he said Bismillah, and he drank it. Now this incident, some scholars, some of them say this should not have been done by Khalid radiallahu anh. Others say no, in that situation, if you have 100% iman, 100% trust with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in that situation where you want to show people, to show the enemy your strength, then it is permissible. Especially that nothing really happened to Khalid radiallahu anh. But again, this is not an invitation that you go and do it because you may die. But this is what Khalid radiallahu anh did. So you learn how much he was strong, how much trust he had in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is actually a recent map, but it shows you a little bit the way Khalid was almost here. Here is Al-Madinah, and Khalid moved from here to Al-Iraq, this way. He moved all the way like that, here. Iyad ibn Ghanam radiallahu anh, he moved from the north, from this way, like that. So they were supposed to meet in Al-Hira, which was here. Now, currently, Al-Hira is no more existed on the map. It disappeared from the map. But it was a kingdom by itself, Al-Hira. It was very well known to a certain time. Now, Khalid radiallahu anh had to move, to switch his way. Instead of going east to continue the openings, he went west. He left the army in Al-Hira, group of his soldiers, and he left. He moved to Al-Anbar. In Al-Anbar, he had to fight in a battle called the Battle of the Eyes. Now, do you have your books? Do you have your books? Open your books. At page 304. The conquest of Anbar. Read.
Conquest of Anbar. The Persians collected a big force in Anbar and appointed Shirzad, the ruler of Sabat,
Sabat,
as its commander. Khalid radiallahu anh marched from Hira
from Al-Hira
to Anbar. Shirzad had erected a high mound of clay outside the ramparts of their fort to consolidate his position. When Khalid radiallahu anh surrounded Anbar, the besieged soldiers showered arrows on the Muslim army, with the result that the eyes of about 1,000 Muslim fighters were injured.
Okay, what do you understand from this? What do you understand from this? Who showered the other with the arrows? Persians. It is the other way around, actually. And I don't know, is it a typo or it is on purpose done to show, to thinking that non-Muslims will read and we want to improve our image. What happened is that Khalid radiallahu anh, when he besieged Al-Anbar, he noticed that there is a wall and it is very difficult to open it. But he noticed also that the soldiers surrounding that wall in that fortress, they are unexperienced. They don't have experience in fighting. And every time they are looking, so Khalid asked his soldiers and he told them, point your arrows to the eyes. And within a matter of minutes, all those archers who are very skilled, they targeted the eyes, and the people of the Anbar, the Persians, they gave up. And people said, ذهبت عيون أهل الأنبار. The eyes of the people of Anbar are gone. And they gave in. And they opened the gates. And that was the wisdom of Khalid radiallahu anh. There was no fighting, and they quit fighting. Now again, some people might say, why this happened? Why Khalid was so brutal that he targeted the eyes? Remember, you are in war. This is a war. They may kill you. If you can kill them, can't you injure them? Can't you injure them? That was the reason that Khalid radiallahu anh did this. That was one thing, helped Khalid radiallahu anh opening Al-Anbar. Another thing, Al-Anbar was surrounded by a ditch of water. So they were pretty much certain that Muslims cannot open it. But Khalid kept looking around Al-Anbar to see if there is any point where they could move. You have a fortress in front of you that is very well protected, and in front of that you have a natural wall, which is the water. So Khalid kept on looking until he found a spot where the water is shallow. Still not enough for them to cross, but he devised the plan. He told his soldiers, bring every weak and sick camel. He slaughtered those camels and he piled them up in that point. And then they crossed over. The moment they saw that, the people of Anbar, they said, we have no ability to fight this man. And they opened the gates and they turned in, and Khalid radiallahu anh took over Al-Anbar. Then Khalid radiallahu anh moved to Ain al-Tamr. Ain al-Tamr was the meeting point between the Persians, the Arab Persians, and the Christians. And that's when Iyad ibn Ghanam radiallahu anh was surrounded by the enemies. Ain al-Tamr, as it is known in history, the fastest defeat. Why is this? Again, it is another heroic act by Khalid radiallahu anh. When the Persians heard about what happened in Al-Anbar, the leader of the Christians in Ain al-Tamr, he told the Persians, he told them, you won't be able to fight them. We, the Arab, we will be able to fight them. We are like them, we know how they fight, let us fight them. They were united. And that's again the point where the entire different nations of disbelief, they are unified against Muslims. Of course, the Persians were happy. There is someone, the leader of them, his name was Uqqa. Uqqa ibn Abi Uqqa. This is the leader, he's a Christian. He told the Persians, let us fight them and we will be able to defeat them. The Persians were happy because someone will suffice them the loss. Let him take care of Khalid radiallahu anh. Uqqa again was very arrogant. Khalid radiallahu anh, the moment he saw him there and the armies are coming close, Khalid did something that is until now is baffling everyone who reads the history of that battle. Khalid went by himself on his horse to Uqqa, the leader. He captured him, he carried him alive over his horse, and he came back. Just like the light. He went straight, he picked him, snatched him, and he went back. The Christians looked at that and everybody ran. The Persians heard about what happened, they left their places and they ran away. That's why it was called the fastest defeat in history. When Khalid radiallahu anh captured Uqqa alive. Now the people of Ain al-Tamr, they were terrified. They did not fight, the soldiers fight, but they are terrified what to do. But eventually they decided to agree on what Khalid radiallahu anh will do. And again, they turned in the city to Khalid. And in that city, again, you see the amazing thing of what Muslims did. Khalid radiallahu anh, in Ain al-Tamr, he saw youth, group of youth, 41 of the youth, they are learning in a church. And he left them. He did not do anything to them. Of those youth, one of them is known with the name of Nusayr. His name is Nusayr. Nusayr is the father of Musa. Musa ibn Nusayr is the one who opened Al-Andalus. One of those youth, his name was Sirin. He is the father of Anas and Muhammad ibn Sirin. And see the tolerance of Islam. Khalid radiallahu anh was able to kill them. Those are youth. Those are potential fighters against Muslims, potential enemies. But rather Khalid radiallahu anh left them. He did not do anything to them. And look at the result. Then now it is time for Khalid radiallahu anh to open the door for Iyad bin Ghanam. And Khalid was reaching, and again the cities are falling, just like a dream, in front of Khalid radiallahu anh. The Al-Uqaydir, who is the leader of Dumat al-Jandal, he heard of what Khalid radiallahu anh did in Ain al-Tamr, in Al-Anbar, in Al-Hira. So he told his people, he told them, before he comes, it is better for us to have an agreement with him, to have a truce with him, instead of waiting until he comes and he fights us. But all the leaders refused. Al-Uqaydir knows that it is a definite loss for them. So nobody listened to him. He himself left them and he left the city. He left Dumat al-Jandal. Dumat al-Jandal, if you go back to the map, look at the map, Dumat al-Jandal is almost here. So you see all that road here now is opened for Muslims. Dumat al-Jandal is almost here, in the south of Jordan now. Khalid radiallahu anh reached Dumat al-Jandal and again surrounded it. The kuffar were unable to maintain defending the city, and Khalid radiallahu anhu was able to open it. And with that, this entire area is opened, and Khalid radiallahu anhu eventually became the leader of the Muslim army in all these areas. And that prepared for the next phase, which is conquering Bilad al-Sham, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, the place where Caesar was. And that will be, inshallah, the next session of the history of Islam. I will stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.